Well, this certainly is some ominous music. Okay, I think we're finally about ready to begin. After some teething troubles, because YouTube is really turning out to be a bit of a pain in the neck in terms of trying to get the show up and running on Twitch. Let's try and get the show up and running on YouTube as well. Not so easy. It also seems to want to revert to always saying that it's the April 30th stream, and no matter how many times I change it, it always changes back. Anyway, welcome to the show, and usual thing. First of all, this is a little bit dark. Let's see if we can just adjust things here. Between the time that I set the camera up and the time that we finally got the stream going, the sun has obviously shifted again, and so that's the usual thing. I always have to adjust the screen, adjust the brightness. Okay, I think that's about as good as we're going to get it for now. An awful lot of noise on the screen as well. I think a lot of the shifts in brightness come from the fact that if you set the camera up at 12 o'clock, at noon, then that is when you're going to have maximum brightness. By the time we actually start the stream at 2 o'clock, things have shifted a bit. Anyway, where are we at? This is page 8 in our series that is recapping the story of Corbie so far. And so we've got page 8 to ink, page 9 to ink at some point, I assume on tomorrow's stream. And I would imagine on Thursday's stream we'll ink page 10. That seems like a fairly safe bet. Then from there, it's going to be a case of we'll have the lettering to do. And then these will be done. And then we're going to have a very strange sort of transition after that where we'll have to figure out what we're going to do next. But I don't know, I'm thinking maybe once we're done with this series for Friday's stream, maybe I'll find some old art that's never been coloured or something and we'll do a colouring stream. And that might rope in some new viewers because I don't know, I just think that some bright colourful artwork getting created on stream might be appealing to some people who otherwise wouldn't be interested or wouldn't take any notice. So, well, that was fast. I'm just going to very lightly go over these two wolves. So in the story, as you'll recall, early on, Corbie gets pursued through the Irish countryside by a pack of wolves that were sent by Neemhane and Maka, and she ends up I don't know how you put it, well, the way that Maka put it was she said that so you're telling me that she defeated the wolves by using serenity. And basically turned the wolves, Corbie managed to get the wolves to switch allegiances and follow her instead. And then at this point in the story, once Corbie had gotten to the palace, to Tamura, then Neemhane and Maka adopted the forms of a pair of wolves and were quite adamant and said, you can't use your tricks on us. And so that's the moment in the story that we're depicting here, is when Neemhane and Maka took the forms of the wolves and they attacked Corbie. And in the second panel, she's effectively defeated or about to be defeated and is lying on the ground. See, I have this thing about Corbie that I don't believe she should get easy victories, and I actually find her to be a more compelling character if she never actually, defeats anybody easily. Other than, I mean, in the first story, in the second issue, I should say, she resoundingly beats the IC because they're not, they're just human. They're just students, and they're not super powered. But then she's sort of, she's entering into a world that she knows nothing about, where there are superpowered villains and entities that are far more powerful than her all over the place. And so from a narrative perspective, I think that's much more interesting. So I make a point in every story that so far, I think in the early goings, it's much more interesting to us to get to see her stumble through and only just survive and really get put through the ringer and just barely get out alive. And I think that in the long term, that makes us root for her to succeed all the more. I just got an email that says, now live on your channel, Club Corbie Livestream, April 30th. I think what happened was I went to go set up the when I first tried to set up the notifications for the YouTube streams, and I had it as a scheduled event, and now YouTube just will not let up. I think the first time we did the first YouTube stream, it didn't even recognise that that event took place, and now it's always waiting for the April 30th stream to take place. So it's a real mess. It's too bad, really, because I would like to expand out further, and as well as having the show on Twitch and having the show on YouTube, if we can simulcast it to other platforms as well and just get as big an audience as possible, it seems like a good thing. But I think we've got to sort out YouTube first. I think about the show as being primarily a Twitch affair, and that we started on Twitch, and that's really should be where my primary focus is. And that's still the plan. I'm a little bit perplexed as to why things have been a lot quieter over the last couple of days in terms of new viewers coming in. We used to get a lot of, well, not a lot of, but we used to get, sort of drifting viewers who'd drop by. and for some reason over the last few streams that has dropped off. I'm not sure what happened. Adding some detail on the tail feathers. The tail feathers are kind of awkward because you gotta make sure you place them right. You gotta be up high enough. The feathers actually come out of the small of the back. A very deliberate design decision because you don't want the feathers to look like they're coming out the back side, obviously. That would be bad. We had to give a lot of thought about that at the design stage and think, no, that's a no-no, you can't do that. You know what really bugs me is with the background music, whenever there's a song that has some dude singing, some guy's vocals, and it's always distracting to me. I have to go into pretzel and I have to switch it off, so there we go. As I've said before, I really like having pretzel and just adding a bit of background music to the stream. I'm a lot more comfortable having it on if it's just me and the sound of my computer fan. I can get a bit anxious, especially if I'm in the middle of drawing something and I get fixated on what I'm doing and there's a kind of an awkward silence, which I know can happen, so I like having a bit of music on in the background, and it sort of keeps things light. I'd actually forgotten that Corbie had battle damage from getting the back of her armour sliced off on the previous page. So I just went and ad-libbed that detail there. Not something I recommend doing, but sometimes if you're working at a very small detail, you can actually get away with, you know, improvising a little bit more. And as you may know, I have a thing about really getting in there with the finest pen that I've got for doing detail on faces. I find that's when you really need that kind of extra degree of precision. I don't know if perhaps I'm getting a little bit less perfectionistic at this point. By the time you get to strip number 8 out of 10, it kind of feels like you're just starting to get to the point where you're like, you just want to finish it. I know that's how I felt with each of the 4 actual, the full-length comics. Was especially with the last one, but really with all of them, you get to a point where it's just you've been at it for months and months, and eventually you just want it to be over with. And I mean, of course I enjoy making comics, it's just that it's a long and grueling process, especially if you're doing it by yourself. I'm recapping my pen there as if I'm going to not be using it again anytime soon. Another minute or two I'll be back on that same pen again. There's no point in putting the cap back on, but anyway, I think we will thicken out some of the lines on the wings here, just because Corbie is right in front of us. We will make her outline a bit more prominent. Yeah, it's a bit sloppier looking than I'd like, some of these pen strokes. Just a bit crude looking. Don't know, I guess maybe this pen's a bit too thick for our purposes, but we'll follow through and finish off. I think that'll do. Then we'll go on and we'll add the background. That line's a bit blobby, but it's okay because that whole area is going to get filled in with black anyway. Okay, let's go on and add in a little bit of black to the background just to break things up a little bit. Okay. I'm very tempted to add a thicker outline to the walls as well, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna restrain myself. Okay. This panel is going to be... There's a lot to do here because there's the first appearance, well, not the first appearance technically, but the first appearance in the flashback of Irma's. We've got the two walls, we have Corbie at the bottom defeated underground, and we've got the background as well. So there's an awful lot going on here. I think we'll start by just adding in the rough outline of the walls first. And of course the walls are very furry, so I'm with keeping the outline very rough like that and sort of patchy. We don't need perfect artificial lines for the walls. It'll actually look better if they're sort of rough and broken up a bit. I'm kind of going over the border a little bit there, but that's fine. Anything that's sort of out of bounds, it's just going to get cropped out anyway. I'm still a little bit weirded out by the perspective on this wolf here. He looks like he's... she, I should say, because they're actually naming and Maka as wolves. This wolf looks fine, and it fits in with everyone else. But this one looks like it's hovering above and is too big relative to everyone else, so I'm not sure what the heck happened there. Do not be surprised if by the time this this page actually makes it online and is finished, if I've resized that whole element or even excised this wolf from the page completely. I'm not sure what happened. I guess it was just a bit of poor planning on my part, I would imagine, at the layout stage. Or it could be that because it's just such a strange angle and it's sort of like a Dutch angle shot where it's tilted, that is what threw me, and that is why I ended up with a character who's just out of scale, it seems. I was talking earlier about making sure that the tail feather wings aren't positioned against the butt, and they have to go out the back, the lower back part of the armour. And in this particular panel, it looks like they're positioned too low. So I don't know. It's a weird sort of perspective shot as it is. To be honest with you, I can see me having to do a lot of cleanup of this particular panel and fixing up a lot of elements once we scan it. Okay, do we even have the original pencil image handy? Preferably without this now. Ah! Okay, okay. I've got it. Some of these... You know, one of my biggest anxieties about doing these streams is always that I think I'm going to knock something over and everything's going to go flying and the whole set will disintegrate before our very eyes, but okay, we've avoided it for now. We're going to take this up. Just kind of a nice side by side. And so that helps a lot, because sometimes with these with the blue line artwork, it can be difficult to see some of the original pencil detail. I don't know if you saw that, there was a fly buzzing around right in front of my nose. I don't know if it hovered in front of the camera there, but that really... Yeah, it's quite annoying. Anyway. We're having one of those days today, it seems. this up a little bit closer, I think, so we can get in and see what I'm actually inking over. Yeah, speaking about improvising details and such, a lot of the detailing I've done for Ernmiss's hair here, which sort of is really absurdly long, intentionally so. Once it gets to the point where it sort of spirals out and hits the floor, I kind of ended up improvising a lot of it there. But I think I'm gonna be redoing a little bit of it, because sometimes the ideas you come up with when you're inking turn out to be worse than the ones for when you were penciling it. What I mean is, you should just stick with the original idea instead of trying to go off and do something different. And in that case, that was exactly what happened there. So what I'm going to do is when we scan this, I'll clean that up as well. Like I said, there's going to be a fair amount of this image I think is going to get retouched and rescaled once it's scanned, because this is one of those panels where there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of characters, a lot of elements that all have to work together. Those are the most challenging elements of any comic by far, to my mind anyway. Any panel where you have multiple characters who overlap, coupled with background environments as well, It's kind of the worst of all worlds. And then throw in the fact that you've got, like I said earlier, you have perspective issues and things to deal with in a panel like this as well, where you have multiple characters on different planes. I don't mean like planes in the sky, I mean visual planes. Okay, oddly enough, the staff is slightly off-center. The top part of the staff, I should say. Okay, as always, I'm doing a really tiny character like this, doing the face on them. Let's take the smallest pen we've got. Okay, I think we can go back to using a slightly thicker pen now. We'll just start to add in. A little bit of detail on the hair. I think that's going to make a big bit, a lot of difference. Well, very lightly. Add some strokes to the corners of the outfit here to really give it that nice sort of shiny effect. I don't know what the heck that is, what an airplane landed outside. It's like somebody's mowing their lawn. Okay. I'm kind of going back and forth here looking at the pencil version of this image. I'm trying to replicate the way that the fur was done. You know, the best that I can. Sometimes you can get away with doing that, you know, as a pen sketch, and sometimes not. Sometimes it just doesn't quite look the same. The other thing you have to factor in is that once you scan it in, and you know, the scanner takes over and your software takes over, you know, your scanner's settings, its calibration, however it's set up, that's going to make a big difference in terms of how these sort of fine details come out and how much of it even ends up being preserved. See, a lot of this looked much better to my eye on the pen version of the image. I tried to get the nose to look exactly the same way that I did it on the pencil version of the wolf there, and it did not. The angle isn't right. I've kind of messed it up, to be honest with you. I think it's one of those things where the best thing that I can do now is, if I start trying to muck about with it and trying to develop over it, I'm just going to make things worse. So the best thing that I can do really is make a mental note to try and refine that when we scan it. Try and get a more accurate shape that's maybe more in keeping with the original line art. And it sucks because I mean the whole purpose of this is that you're trying to bring out the best in your original pencils. And sometimes what you end up with is better. Sometimes it's the same. Sometimes it's, like in that example, it's a bit worse. And that's just it's just how it goes, unfortunately. Of course, a good inker can bring out the best in a penciled image. I don't claim to be a good inker, but I do my best with the material that's in front of me, which of course always ends up being my material to begin with. So. I think we should just press on. We're doing the best that we can. And as I've said before, no doubt we will end up having to make a lot of corrections when we scan it, but the thinking to my mind is you're trying to minimise the amount of time that you spend having to fiddle around and correct things digitally. As I think I said on a recent stream, it's a case of the quicker you can get something scanned and corrected, and if it doesn't require a lot of post-production work, then that's time that you can spend making new content instead of having to needlessly tweak and make corrections. Which has always been my downfall, is I have a tendency to meddle and get caught up in the tiny details, and I want everything to be just right. Which if we're going to go psychoanalyze it, probably speaks to some sort of crippling self-esteem issues on my part, that I want everything to be perfect. we've kind of taken our time on today's stream because we've basically got we're 90 minutes in and we have almost 2 complete panels done. I've got to say that is a heck of a lot better than I did at the weekend. Wow. Okay, there's a tiny little mark there, my pen just slipped and what was I saying? Yeah, we're doing a lot better than I did at the weekend when it's taking a whole day to just get one single page done. And in the space of 90 minutes we have almost 2 complete panels here, inked, ready to go. By ready to go I mean ready to be scanned and fixed up, as we've established. There's shading on the ground on both of these first 2 panels. I think we'll go in and we'll lightly add that, but first checking my pens here. That's okay. Mess that line up, but all I'm doing here is thickening up the interior of this because I'm going to go over it and fill this whole area in with black. Just add some shadow to the goodness, that is annoying. That I'm sure you can hear that mower or strimmer or whatever's going on outside. Not much we can do about it, unfortunately. Dude, you're messing up my ambience. You can see how right away just having that one strip of black really gives the image a lot more visual impact. Just that one little bit of shading helps to render the whole sort of backdrop in 3 dimensions. So let's add some more. maybe a bit this on one side. And after that it comes down with the border panel. I don't care what's going on here if that blotches a little bit in the border panel. Extending out into the border panel for my purposes can very often be a good thing, because sometimes I have to resize elements, and you know, if I have to downsize something, having things that extend out a little bit can give me a bit more material to work with if I have to shrink things down. And it saves me from having to you know, draw extra content, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to take a very thick pen here. We'll just use that to fill in the middle here. And I almost think I'm going to live dangerously here, and I'm going to add some black to the side of these pillars here in the background. Just going to fill that in. Like that. And then this one that's filling up the center of the image here. I think this is a pretty safe addition to the image. So it wasn't there on the original pencil version that I didn't have these areas indicated as being set in black, but I think that's going to help. I would keep in mind that this section is going to be all that's where the text caption is going to go, but still helps to add a bit of oomph to this image. And this is the thinnest pen that I have again. Just gonna go that super lightly over the floor here. I don't even know if this is actually going to show when we scan it. I just want to differentiate the floor from the rest of the environment. And this is really another example of me adding in a bit more detail than is really needed. You know, I'm really starting to think that if we do more daily strips after these first 10, I'm going to have to make a very deliberate point of cutting out all of this excessive sort of shading that I've been doing. I think we're going to have to find ways to be much more economical visually. So which is really going to suck if, you know, if I put these first 10 strips online and then if we get a bunch of comments that are like, OMG, I love how detailed this is, and it's going to be like, well, enjoy it because that's the end of that. Again, I think this need to add excessive detail. It's just my insecurities at work probably, and why do you feel like you need to try so hard, John? How much time have we got left? 15 minutes, or thereabouts. Right. Well, We've actually still got a little bit of work to do on Corbie. I thought we were done. Oh no. We're never done. Because we need to add in a little bit of the shading and the extra black on the armor detail here. Okay, oh, we've got to do the leg as well. And that is... that's as good as it's going to get. That's not... we've done enough on that panel. That panel is... oh my god, that's been a trial. Right. Okay. Panel beneath that is just... we're not going to say Corbie because she's got a helmet off, and my rule is... my stance is when the helmet is off she's Corinne, although she's got the armor on. But it's Corinne and she's speaking to Irma, who we see from behind. So this is a relatively simple panel. It doesn't have any fancy backgrounds, it doesn't have any weird perspective issues or anything. It's quite straightforward. For some reason I'm just going to start on the hip down here. Just a very easy area that I can build from. We'll get that done at least on stream today. We can start to do the outline of this. I imagine that's going to be much of the rest of my output today is going to involve getting these two lower panels inked. And then on tomorrow's stream, tomorrow we will almost certainly be inking page number 9. And then we'll still have some work to do after that because we've got to ink page 10, I guess, on Friday. And then once all this inking is done, finally. We have still got some lettering to do and a bit of cleanup on all these pages we've been inking. And as always with the hair, I'm trying to ink these lines in such a way that they sort of thicken and then get thinner again as it bears in, and then thicker again as the hair sort of pops out at the more prominent points. And it gives the hair sort of a nice flow effect when you get all the lines in place. Make sure I do the same sort of thing with the collar. Just thicken it a little bit and then have it, the lines sort of thin and come to a point at the very top. And then once we fill in those lines, it's all gonna look much nicer than if we just sort of had one thin line or one very thick line throughout. And I can't believe that today's show is almost at an end. It's been one of those streams today that has really flew by, especially, you know, once I got going, once I had some momentum going, as far as the inking goes. It sure doesn't feel like it's been 2 hours. It feels like it's been about 45 minutes, maybe 1 hour at the most. I'm just sticking at some of the wing lines as well, I think. That might be overkill. But I don't think it'll hurt either. Okay. I'll add in some of these details on the headdress thing that Irma wears. I think that's going to be our final task for today, at least on stream. And I usually keep these pretty free and easy. I don't care if they're a little bit squishy. Alright. That is going to do it for today's stream. And I want to thank you all for watching on Twitch, on YouTube, wherever you may be. Don't forget that you can support the stream at ko-fi.com/Corbie or streamlabs.com/Corinne Morgan Corbie, and that's all a great help in terms of helping to fund future Corbie projects and keeping everything up and running. Of course, you can read the comic at readcmc.com. You can download it or read it online, whichever you prefer. You can follow us on Twitter. My Twitter is John Porter CMC. That's CMC as in Corinne Morgan Corbie. And the official Corbie Twitter is Read CMC. And the Corbie Instagram is also Read CMC. Have I forgotten anything? No, I think that's all the main ones. So, we'll be back tomorrow. By which point I should have all of this done, and we will be on to the next page, which is, which one is that? This is 8. We'll do